Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. But first, the headlines. The Sultanate of Oman participates in the ministerial consultative meeting in Jeddah that reviews development of Arab relations. And fighting between army and paramilitary erupts in Sudan. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cabal of greetings to Her Majesty Queen Margaret II of Denmark on her birthday. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, participated in the ministerial consultative meeting of the foreign ministers of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, the Arab Republic of Egypt, and the Republic of Iraq, which was hosted by the Saudi Minister of Foreign Affairs in the city of Jeddah. The meeting comes within the framework of consultation and coordination between the participating countries regarding issues of common concern and cooperation between them in order to develop Arab relations and serve their higher interest and contribute to addressing regional and global challenges. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, held bilateral meetings in Jeddah with His Highness Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, Foreign Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Sheikh Salim Abdullah Al Jaber Al Sabah, Foreign Minister of the State of Kuwait, His Excellency Ayman Safadi, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, His Excellency Sameh Shukri, Foreign Minister of the Arab Republic of Egypt, and His Excellency Dr. Fuad Hussein, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the Republic of Iraq. During the meetings, they discussed the good bilateral relations between the Sultanate of Oman and brotherly countries and consulted on a number of regional and international developments of common interests. The Foreign Minister expressed that it is following with great concern the development in the situation in the Republic of Sudan due to the current clashes there. The ministry urged all Sudanese parties to exercise maximum restraint and maintain a language of dialogue among them to reach a political consensus to protect lives and capabilities and achieve security and stability for the Sudanese people. Air strikes and artillery exchanges rocketed the Sudanese capital today as paramilitaries and the regular army traded attacks on each other's bases days after the army warned that the country was at a dangerous turning point. The paramilitaries said they were in control of the presidential place as well as the Khartoum airport, claims denied by the army as civilian leaders called for immediate ceasefire. The doctors union said that 3 civilians had been killed, including at Khartoum airport and in North Kordofan state, and at least 9 others wounded. Dozens of former prisoners descended from a plane in Sana'a to a marching band and traditional Yemeni dancers as an exchange of prisoners was underway in the war-torn country. An exchange of more than 800 prisoners linked to Yemen's long-running war began yesterday, the International Committee for the Red Cross said. The United Nations brokered deal in the works for months comes amid concerted diplomatic efforts to negotiate an end to the conflict. The flight arrived from Aden and the seat of the country's internationally recognized government allied with Saudi Arabia. The deal calls for the Houthis to release more than 180 prisoners, including Saudi and Sudanese troops fighting with the Saudi-led coalition and 4 Yemeni journalists. A deal last last month between Saudi Arabia and Iran to restore ties has boosted negotiations between the kingdom and the Houthis and invigorated hopes for a negotiated settlement to the Yemeni conflict. The Russian Defense Ministry said that its forces took control of 2 more districts in the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut. Earlier military sources reported that the Ukrainian forces were forced to withdraw from some lands in the city of Bakhmut in conjunction with the launch of a new attack by the Russian forces using heavy artillery fire over the previous 2 days. Germany will switch off its last 3 nuclear reactors today, exciting atomic power even as it seeks to wean itself of fossil fuels and manage an energy crisis caused by the war in Ukraine. While many Western countries are upping their investments in atomic energy to reduce their emissions, Germany is bringing an early end to its nuclear age. Europe's largest economy has been looking to leave behind nuclear power since 2002, but the phase-out was accelerated by former Chancellor Angela Merkel in 2011 after the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan. The exit decision was popular in a country with a powerful anti-nuclear movement stoked by lingering fears of Cold War conflict and atomic disasters such as Chernobyl in Ukraine. G7 allies make today for 2 days of difficult climate talks in northern Japan, facing pressure to show progress on key fossil fuel commitments in an example to other major economies, including China. Campaigners have warned climate and environment ministers from the leading developing countries against backsliding on pledges to shift away from coal and natural gas at home and abroad. The ministers want to show unity after a major United Nations climate report warned last month that 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming would be seen in about a decade. It called for rapid and far-reaching action to keep increases within relatively safe limits. The latest draft statement seen by AFP calls on nations to take action in this critical decade, urging a peak in global greenhouse emissions by 2025 at the latest. The draft also stresses the urgency of slashing global emissions by 60% by 2035 from 2019 levels, as recommended by the UN's IPCC panel of climate experts. The inflation rate for consumer prices in the Sultanate of Oman stabilized during the month of March at 1.58%. The data issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information showed an increase in the prices of the main commodity groups in March compared to the same month in 2022. According to the data, Al Buraimi Governorate witnessed the highest rate of inflation, followed by Ad Dakhiliya Governorate and then Muscat Governorate. Meanwhile, the Muscat Stock Exchange main index by the end of last week's trading closed at 4,800 points. The total value of trading reached 10,300,000 Omani Rials. The report issued by Muscat Stock Exchange pointed out that the market value also increased by more than 23 billion Rials, recording weekly gains of more than 85 million Omani Rials. This is the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate of Oman participates in the ministerial consultative meeting in Jeddah that reviews development of Arab-Arab relations. And fighting between army and paramilitary erupts in Sudan. The holy month of Ramadan is the best month for all believers who believe that this world is a test for human, and whoever live with purity and stand for righteousness shall reap the blessing harvest in the hereafter. With that, we do conclude this news bulletin, which has been edited by Ahmed bin Hamad Al-Habsi, sound engineer, and the Firas Saadi auto cue operator, Musa Al-Wahabi cameraman, Ahmed Al-Kharousi video operator, and crew team directed by As'ad Al-Muqahami. And with that, we say good night to you all.